everyone. This is Rob Golfi with Remax, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier. You can put it up for sale. They don't have to wait for any legal stuff with the lawyers. They can just go ahead and do it, or they can keep it in and stay there, or whatever they want to do. This is always a battle, especially with siblings. I was just sitting down with a couple. It was kind of like a networking event. And this couple, they have a business, and he is partners with his brother and sister in this business. It's like what do you call it? A fencing business. Okay. And they do a fairly good amount of business. And I said, he goes, they've got, the one brother's got like 6 kids, and I think he's got 4 or 5, and the other sister's got 4 or 5. There was 15 kids involved between these 3 parents. These 3 sets of parents, 15. I said to him, I go, boy, you guys have a real big problem for succession planning. Yeah. I go, when you got 15 personalities, and I'm sure 15 personalities that will, take over this business or inherit this business, you guys are gonna have, some of these kids are gonna be headstrong, and they're gonna want to take over. This is a big thing, and they realize that, they know it, because there's too many kids in this family, and like who is going to inherit it? Like, does one family buy out the other? Like, that's a problem when you got too many kids and partners that are involved, and like for the succession planning. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'll tell you something. Once the parents are gone, I mean, they're still young enough that they'll be around probably another 30 years. And once the parents are gone, that's when all the things are going to get complicated and everything. And another one, here's another story. So I went and saw this elderly couple, and they're probably in their 80s, and they have this property, and there's a business on this property. And so there's a brother and sister, right? There's 2 kids. The son runs the business now, and the daughter is not involved in the business at all. And they wanted to know what the property value was, and they were shocked that when I went there, I think I said to them it was probably like $17 million.
Wow!
They didn't expect that. And the reason is, now it made things more complicated, because the land value of this property was worth so much that a developer would buy it and build homes on it or whatever. So they go, wow, we're in trouble now, because now the one son can't, have the succession of all this. Like, now he may have to mortgage this property, which if he mortgages this property and gives half to the sister, then he's got a big mortgage that he has to pay. His business may not be able to handle that big mortgage. They may have to sell it and relocate their business someplace else, and rebuild all new. And like, see how the richer you are, the more headaches you have. And so they're working on that, and they didn't expect. I don't think they ever imagined what their land value was going to be on their property. I think they probably thought it was going to be worth, $2, $3, $4 million. I don't think they expected it to be worth $17, $18 million property. And so they're in a little bit of a pickle right now, trying to decide how do they deal with their estate with the other sibling. That how are they going to make it fair for both of them, so that there's no squabble that's going to happen once the parents pass away.
It's really sad what can happen with families, and I think they think about that, parents, when, they're getting older, they want everything to be fair, and they want, everyone to get along. But unfortunately, sometimes just grief comes out in odd ways, and people will find a way to make it about the money and all of those kinds of things. So I know people work hard on it, but it is a real mess. If you don't have a $17 million property.
It is a big mess, and sometimes you can sustain one generation, but when it goes to the 3rd and 4th generation, it sometimes it just gets all watered down to nothing, no business, no money, and everything. It's like the Eaton's family. I mean, I think it took about 4 or 5 generations before that ended up being completely bankrupt. Because you got the original people that started the business, and then usually the next generation does pretty good. It just depends. It just depends how your succession plan is, and sometimes you can have it last 2-3 generations, or sometimes if you don't have anything in place, it's all gone in one second generation, and then everybody wonders what happened. Like, you guys, there's a lot of families out there. It wasn't planned right, and they ended up, the kids end up spending all the money because they're not used to having that kind of money. So you got to be very, very careful. But it's always good to talk to your lawyer and find out which direction you want to go with. If you have with your property or with a secondary property that you have, and especially if it's a cottage, and ask him about the tenants in common and joint tenancy, and he'll give you some good advice on which direction to go with that, so you can avoid paying taxes.
Is that how you get it done? You have to go to a lawyer, and does that cost a lot of money?
I don't think it costs a lot of money, but you can. But they'll tell you the direction. I'll give you a story. I don't know. I know a bit about this story, but I went to list this house, and this gentleman, it was his second marriage, and I think his wife was on title, but his wife put her kids from her previous marriage as joint tenancy. So when she passed away, they became partners. The husband became partners with the stepkids.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you have no idea. He didn't even know this was happening. He did not know. So now it kind of filtered the house down to, I think, to now he's got 2 stepkids that are partners with him on this house, and when he wanted to sell it, he couldn't even sell it that easily. So you sometimes you got to check title to make sure that your partner doesn't add other people for joint tenancy on title, because they can. And so
anyone who's if you're 2 people are on title, one can add joint tenancy without the other one knowing.
It must have happened, because this guy said to me, he goes, if she was alive, I would kill her today. She's dead. She's dead. That's what he said. Those were his exact words. Wow. And he was shocked, and he was very, very upset of the whole situation, what she did. So I guess if there's a partner, she can put somebody else as joint tenancy on there. So basically, your spouse that you have will end up becoming partners with the stepkids. And so you sometimes you got to have a lawyer protect you and put something that nothing can be changed on title as is, because the way I think it worked was, if she passed away, he would have inherited it, would in joint tenancy, he would have got the property 100%, but right. she did it the other way. He still was part of the property, but she added 2 more names to the property, and I guess she was able to do it without him knowing, and because he had no clue.
Wow. Okay. Well, next time you tick your partner off, make sure you check title after that.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show. Rob Golfi is with us, and he's sticking around. We got more after this here on News Talk 610 CKTV. Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and Rob Golfi is with us today, talking all things real estate. And Rob, it's been an interesting time this year. It's the end of the year, kind of start to look back at 2024, the year that was. And for real estate, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Would you agree?
Yeah, especially in the last 2.5 years, it has been a roller coaster. If you survived as a realtor in the last 2.5 years, and you're still standing and still doing business, you made it through one of the toughest times in probably in a couple of decades, for sure.
Okay, so when it comes to, we've had some interest rate cuts, 5 in a row. You talked about, you've got phone calls coming into the office. Are we there? Has real estate recovered? What do you see for the next year?
I do see that the market is going to be strong next year. I do see that, and I do see a lot of activity. Interest rates are probably going to come down maybe another quarter, half point in the next 2 announcements when they have that. I really do, but I don't see that and it's not good that we're going to have multiple offers and people are jumping in 10, 20, $100,000 over asking. You don't want that. It's not good because then it becomes unaffordable. But I do feel that that the market will pick up and people still like out there, they think they're going to get this amount of money that was people were getting in 2000 at the beginning of 2022 when it hit the peak of the pricing of homes. So they probably won't get that, and that's what they're thinking. A lot of people are actually hanging on because they think they're going to get 100,000 more in the new year with the interest rates. They're not going to get it. We're maxed out. The prices of homes are high, but they're sitting. They're not moving. If you overprice it, so let's say a bungalow is $800,000. Okay, that's the value of the bungalow. But people are trying to price that bungalow up to $1 million. It's $200,000 over asking, and they're hanging on. They're trying to sell it, and it's not selling because it's worth only $800,000. But if they price it $800,000, they'll probably get $800,000 and end up selling it fairly quick. And that's where the problem is that we've got people hanging on to those high prices and a lot of listings are out there are sitting, not selling because they're overpriced. But the ones that are priced right, they're selling fast and they're getting what the market value is. Now, if you're buying and selling in the same market, you're fine. But if you're buying in this market and you have nothing to sell, that ceiling is high. That benchmark price where what housing prices are is tough, and it's hard for it to keep going up because people only can afford so much, and so they have to be, so that's why it's plateaued with the housing prices. And now, will it go up? It's going to go up and it's going to go down, but 3 to 5%, like I said earlier, but it's not an easy thing, and I know we have a lot of buyers that we're working with right now. Inventory, more inventory will come up, and they're looking, and they'll end up, buying it, and So it's just it's a tough situation, especially for first time buyers out there. And first time buyers now, if they bring out the stats, I bet you they're older. They're older than they were probably 20 years ago, and that were buying their first home. And, because you need more time to save money and to buy. So you're going to find a lot of people in their 30s buying a house, mid 30s versus in their mid 20s. And right now, I'll tell you, Niagara has got some good deals. It is expensive, but there's a good opportunity there for affordability versus going to Toronto, Hamilton, or anywhere around that's close to the GTA.
One area for sure, and you've talked about this on the show before, is those condos and pre-construction condos specifically. It seems like investors are really walking away from those right now. Yeah,
so I'll tell you, you're not going to see too many condo towers going up. Whatever ones that you're seeing that are being built right now, those were like 4 years ago that started, but there is no new ones that they're really starting unless they have already been pre-sold. And but these developers, they're hurting pretty bad, and they're not willing to take the risk to start a project. And investors, I mean, you can't make money on buying a condo and renting it. It just doesn't cover. So investors are staying clear from it. There's the money's hard to be made. And what drives the condo market are investors.
Find them at robgolfi.com, 905-641-0308. Get an instant home estimate at golfihomevalue.com.